Good morning, everyone. This is your weather forecast. We have a critical situation unfolding right now across Newfoundland and Labrador that demands your immediate attention. Coastal flooding warnings are in effect for 10 different areas, with waves reaching 6 to 9 meters. This is an extremely dangerous situation, especially during high tide between 9 and 11 this morning. And that's not all we're dealing with today, folks. We've got dense fog in Alberta and severe weather in British Columbia. Plus, we're seeing one of the most dramatic temperature contrasts across Canada I've seen this winter. So let's get right into it and break down what's happening from coast to coast. Let's start out west in British Columbia, where we've got multiple weather warnings active right now. In Vancouver, conditions are quite pleasant with current temperatures sitting at 7 degrees C under cloudy skies. Today's high will reach 13, making it the warmest spot in the entire country. There's only a 20% chance of rain. So overall, a pretty nice February day for the lower mainland. But up in Haida, it's a completely different story with a wind warning in effect. Southeast winds are going to ramp up to 90 kilometers per hour with gusts reaching 110. This is happening this morning and into the afternoon as a vigorous frontal system moves through the region. We're expecting possible power outages and disruptions to services. So if you're in exposed coastal sections, stay alert. Now moving to the north coast, Kitimat and Terrace are under a rainfall warning for prolonged heavy rain. We're talking about 80 to 120 millimeters total starting this morning through Wednesday night. That's 2 full days of rain, at times heavy, with 40 to 60 mm expected just today. Roads will likely flood, visibility will be suddenly reduced, and there's risk of washouts near rivers and creeks. All right, let's move into the prairies where Alberta is dealing with a significant fog advisory. 9 different areas across northern Alberta, including Fort McMurray and the entire Wood Buffalo region, are affected. We're talking about near-zero visibility and dense fog that developed overnight and will persist until late this morning. If you're traveling on Highway 63 or any roads in the Lasish area, extreme caution is required. Allow extra time for your commute. Use your fog lights and reduce speed significantly. In Edmonton, current conditions show 2 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies, and today's high will reach just 1 degree. Now, Calgary is experiencing something really interesting, folks. We've got those Chinook winds bringing exceptional warmth. Current temperature is 2 degrees, but we're going to climb to 7 degrees this afternoon. That is remarkably warm for early February in Calgary, well above the seasonal average. And this warm trend is going to continue. We'll talk more about that in the extended forecast. Moving into Saskatchewan, both Saskatoon and Regina are sitting in the deep freeze this morning. Saskatoon is at -5 degrees with clear skies and clouds, while Regina is slightly colder at -7. Both cities will see highs reaching -1 degree today, with a 10% chance of snow. Conditions are improving compared to yesterday, and we'll see a gradual warming trend through the week. Now, Winnipeg, Manitoba. My goodness, this is where we have the coldest conditions in all of Canada right now. Current temperature is a bone-chilling -26 degrees C under partly cloudy skies. With the wind chill, it feels significantly colder. We're talking dangerous exposure conditions. Today's high will only reach -8 with a 25% chance of snow. But here's the good news. Winnipeg residents, we have a dramatic warm-up coming your way. By Thursday, temperatures will climb all the way to +2 degrees. That's a 28-degree increase. Let's head into Ontario, where Toronto is currently experiencing -5 degrees with light snow showers. Cloudy conditions prevail, and today's high will reach -3, with a 20% chance of flurries. The snow that's falling right now is light, but roads could be slippery during the morning commute on the 401. Now, south of Toronto in the Picton and Sandbanks Park area, we have a snow squall watch in effect. Snow squalls may develop this morning and continue into early evening with local amounts of 10 to 15 centimeters. Visibility will be suddenly reduced to near zero in these squalls, with local blowing snow making travel treacherous. If you're driving along Highway 401 between Kingston and the Bay of Quinte, be prepared for rapidly changing conditions. Ottawa is even colder this morning at -13 degrees under cloudy skies. Today's high of -6 with a 25% chance of snow means another cold February day in the capital. Moving into Quebec, Montreal is sitting at -12 degrees this morning with partly cloudy conditions. The high today will be -7 with a 20% chance of snow as the cold pattern continues. Quebec City is even more frigid at -20 degrees, making it one of the coldest major cities today. With clear skies and periodic clouds, the high will only reach 111 degrees. This extreme cold is due to Arctic air that continues to dominate eastern Canada this week. Now, let's get to Atlantic Canada, where Halifax is experiencing -4 degrees under cloudy skies this morning. Today's high will reach just 1 degree with a 10% chance of snow as cold conditions persist. And here we are in Newfoundland and Labrador, where St. John's currently has -1 degree with light snow falling. But the temperature is not the story here, folks. It's the coastal flooding emergency that's unfolding. Coastal flooding warnings are in effect for 10 different areas, including the entire eastern Avalon Peninsula. We're seeing wave heights of 6 to 9 meters breaking on shore, combined with high storm surge. The most dangerous period is happening right now during high tide between 9 and 11 a.m. Water levels are exceeding the highest astronomical tide-pushing water well beyond its usual reach. Trinity Bay, Bonave Vista Bay, and Conception Bay are all seeing severe impacts with flooding on roads. Properties in coastal locations are being hit by spray and wave overtopping. This is extremely dangerous. Please stay away from the shoreline to prevent being swept off rocks or pulled out to sea. Additional coastal flooding statements are in effect for Placentia Bay and the Burin Peninsula, with 3 to 5 meter waves. All right, let's look at the extended forecast and see what's coming over the next several days. Wednesday, February 4th. We'll see Vancouver staying beautiful with a high of 410 and only 10% rain. That mix of sun and cloud will make for another pleasant day on the west coast. Calgary continues its exceptional warm spell, reaching 14 degrees, making it the warmest spot in the prairies. Edmonton climbs to 5 degrees. Saskatoon and Regina both reach 2 degrees as the warming trend spreads. Winnipeg improves to -5. Still cold, but a significant improvement from today's -26. Now, in central and eastern Canada, it's a different story as the cold pattern actually intensifies. Toronto drops to 6 degrees, Ottawa also -6, both with 20% snow chances. Montreal stays at -6, while Quebec City hovers around -7 as the Arctic air remains entrenched. Halifax reaches 1 degree, and St. John's drops to -3 as the nor'easter begins to pull away. Thursday, February 5th brings even more interesting developments, particularly for Winnipeg. Vancouver enjoys sunny skies with 13 degrees and 0% precipitation. The nicest day of the week. Calgary maintains that 14-degree warmth as the Chinook pattern continues to dominate southern Alberta. Edmonton stays mild at 3 degrees, while Saskatchewan cities reach 2 to 3 degrees. And here's the big story. Winnipeg climbs all the way to +2 degrees. That represents a 28 degrees Celsius increase from Tuesday morning's -26. Absolutely remarkable. However, eastern Canada sees the coldest day of this 3-day period as Arctic air digs in deeper. Toronto stays at -6, but Ottawa plunges to -1 degree, the coldest reading of the week. Montreal drops to -9, and Quebec City hits -10, making it the coldest major city. Halifax falls to -1, and St. John's stays around -3 with continued snow chances. Now let's talk about what's driving these dramatic temperature contrasts across the country. Western Canada is sitting under a warm ridge in the upper atmosphere, bringing those above normal temperatures. Meanwhile, Eastern Canada continues to feel the influence of the polar vortex, with Arctic air streaming southward. This pattern has been persistent throughout late January and early February, and it's not going anywhere soon. According to Environment Canada's outlook, this east-west temperature split will continue through mid-February. The storm track across British Columbia is bringing those systems with wind and rain to the coast. Those same systems weaken as they cross the Rockies, arriving as Alberta clippers with less moisture. That's why we're seeing lighter snow amounts in the prairies compared to what normally falls with these systems. Looking ahead to the weekend and into next week, Friday through Sunday show continued temperature variations. Vancouver maintains its mild 10 to 13 degree range, perfect for early February outdoor activities. Calgary and Edmonton stay above seasonal with highs in the 11 to 14 degree range. However, Winnipeg will see another temperature drop after Thursday's brief warm-up, returning to more typical winter cold. Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City remain locked in below freezing temperatures throughout the weekend. Snow chances increase Friday and Saturday across Ontario and Quebec as systems move through. We're not talking about major snowstorms, but rather these Alberta clipper systems bringing light to moderate accumulation. One more interesting note: February daylight is increasing rapidly across Canada right now. Toronto is gaining about 1 hour and 15 minutes of daylight by the end of this month. Calgary gains even more, nearly 1 hour and 40 minutes as we march towards spring. That extra daylight makes these cold days a bit more bearable, and spring is definitely on the horizon. Before we wrap up, let me give you the key takeaways from today's forecast. Number 1. If you're in coastal Newfoundland and Labrador, this coastal flooding emergency is life-threatening. Stay away from shorelines, especially during high tide periods. The waves are massive. Number 2. Northern Alberta residents dealing with dense fog need to exercise extreme caution on roadways this morning. Visibility near zero means slow down significantly and allow extra travel time. Number 3. That temperature contrast across Canada is remarkable. 40 degrees difference from Vancouver to Winnipeg. Number 4. Winnipeg's warming trend is dramatic, but the cold will return, so don't put away the winter gear yet. And number 5. Eastern Canada's cold pattern intensifies Thursday and Friday before moderating slightly next week. This has been your comprehensive weather forecast. All information comes from Environment Canada. Official forecasts and warnings updated this morning. Remember, weather conditions can change, so please check Weather Canada CA for the latest updates. If you found this forecast helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update, especially when we have significant weather events. I'll be back tomorrow with another complete forecast covering all regions from coast to coast. I'll see you in the next one.